part is looked after by Patrick sir, and those login IDs and all passwords and all those are handled by Patrick sir, and he will communicate with Yadika ma'am, and then that can be sorted out. Okay, it happened beforehand also, but all those problems were afterwards sorted out. So what is my point? My point is, from now onwards, you will not send me photographs. You will upload everything in Moodle. Okay, and it is quite difficult to check the problems through images. It is quite very much difficult, and I am a myopic person, and it is very strainful for my eyes to check all the sums line by line by seeing the images. So you upload everything in Moodle. Then when from first onwards, we teachers are going to college. When we will go back to college, I will download all those things, print it out, and then I will check and then will reply to you. Okay, that cannot be done by seeing the images. It's my own problem. Medical issues are there. That's why I'm saying that it will be very much difficult for me to do so. That's why if you have any doubt before solving the sum, you ask me that, ma'am, here we are having doubts. Like yesterday, I got so many doubts from on question number 22 and 24. That's why I will discuss that in class today now. Okay, and leaving that, few people are, also had doubt in one question or the other. They asked, so like that you ask and then you do it. If you're not 100% sure about any answer, you first ask and then you write. But the checking part of all the solutions and word by word calculation, checking everything will be done once I reach college. From first onwards, we are going to college every day. Okay, and that from first onwards, I'll be able to check everything. So that those two or three things I wanted to convey before I start today's class. Okay, all right. I hope you can see the word file that I'm sharing on the screen, right? I hope you can see. Yes, you can see. I can see. Yeah, you can see. So you see in first I will talk about question number 24. Okay, you see in 24 it is similar to 25. Okay, it is similar to 25. Here in this last part, no, total revenue increases by 1. Calculate its price. It won't be price. It will be price elasticity of demand. Okay, it will be price elasticity of supply. Calculate price elasticity of supply. This is the number one error in this sum, and this error, no, this 1 or 1%, that is very difficult to I found it very difficult to interpret what could be the error here. So if it is 1% only, then the results are quite absurd. So I told you, I messaged you at night that you ignore this point number 24. You ignore this sum because there are printing errors in that. But this sum is exactly same to number 25. You see, same thing. Total here in 24, price is given rupees 10 per unit, and total revenue is also given at 1600. You see, in 25, total revenue at a price of rupees 4 per unit of a commodity is 480. Same thing, same information is given. First line, same. Then it says, when its price rises by 20%, in 24 I am saying, when its price rises by 20%, total revenue increases by 1 or 1%, whatever it is. But you see here, total revenue increases by rupees 240 when its price rises by 25%. Same question. Did you see? Same question. And calculates this price elasticity of supply. I had shared the solution also, so that you can get a hint that how it is calculated. So this should be the way to calculate. You remember when elasticity of demand, we did a sum on total investment, TE we did, no? Price into quantity equals to total investment, to total expenditure. We did, no? Then we calculated we knew the total expenditure. From there we divided the price and we got a new quantity. Like that we did one sum. You just check the previous classes. The images are also there in Moodle. You can check that. This concept is exactly similar to that. Here total revenue will be equals to price into quantity supplied, and there it was price into quantity demand equals to total expenditure. So same concept will be here also. So you follow this sum. This is very easily calculated here. This should be the process of solving point number 24. But I'm asking you to ignore 24 because this I could not interpret what could be the error. This can be 100, 120 or something like that. It should not be percent or it should not be by rupees 1 also. So there is an error in this part. In point number 24, I could not interpret. So if I say you any term, then it may not match. I'm not an expert in setting the sum, so I cannot do that. Okay, that's why I told you to ignore this. But the way to solve this kind of sum is this one, point number 25. Understood? Srishti, have you understood what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So if this kind of sums come in your exam, you will follow this technique of 24, 25 solution. This technique shown in point number 25, that process you should follow. And coming to point number 22, what is it said? A firm supplies 10 units of a, mute yourself please here. A firm supplies 10 units of a good at a price of rupees 15 per unit. Price elasticity of supply is 1.25. What quantity will the firm supply at a price of rupees 7 per unit? What is the problem here? Anyone has any doubt in this?
Ma'am, you told to round it off, no, the new
Yeah.
quantity. Then
Hmm.
I had rounded off and then I had taken out del Q. Then del Q is coming -7. And if I am putting that in the original that
Just
formula,
a second, just a second, just a second. Del Q will be negative only because you see what is the law of supply says. Law of supply says if price increases, quantity supplied also increases. If price decreases, the quantity supplied also decreases. Isn't it? Am I
that,
correct?
that I understood yesterday. You told me that. But
You tell me, do you understand this part or not? Law of
yes,
supply.
ma'am, this I
Yes.
understood.
Now you see in the price section, what was the previous price? It was rupees 15 per unit, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Then it reduced to how much?
7.
7. So there is a decrease in price,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
What will be the change in price here?
8.
8 minus or plus?
-8.
Minus 8. If del P is minus, then del Q should also be minus.
Yes, ma'am, -7.
Then if del
Ma'am,
P
then
is minus, hmm,
no, no, ma'am. My point is when I am putting that in the del Q equal to -7. When I am putting it in the original formula, my left hand side and right hand side is not matching. Like elasticity of supply in the question, it's given 1.25.
you are supposed to calculate the quantity. No, you're supposed to calculate the quantity. That's not matching, maybe because you have rounded it off. You have taken 3 instead of 3.34, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's why it is not matching. But approximation has been done. So here also, I think you are talking about price elasticity. It is not coming as 1.25, right?
Yes, ma'am. It was coming
Yes.
1.31.
हाँ तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है ओनली 6 points का डिफरेंस है 0.06 is difference so what is the big
Okay,
deal
ma'am.
in college level
Ma'am,
this
actually,
kind
that only I
of
was confused that if it doesn't match, then there is a problem or not.
no since you have approximated mute yourself Srishti please mute yourself yeah so if you are approximating something the other value has to be automatically approximated it will be coming like that so difference of 0.6 0.5 point till 0.10 in some part in college level you will find some in third semester when you will come we will do financial management in there you will see that approximation up to 5 6 rupees is being done so it is all right it happens sometimes okay when you
Okay,
are
ma'am.
reaching this college level, not like school, you will get exactly point by point matched values. It may happen because here we apply concepts, here we apply theories, and then we solve the sums. All right.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Acha, tell me one thing. Any one of you, my fan is on, ceiling fan is on. Does it disturbs you? I mean, when I'm talking, does it disturb you?
No, ma'am.
No, no, because I'm using microphone. That's why. Yeah, Pratham, you reconnect. Or you increase your volume. Your volume must be off. Okay, then let me start today's discussion. I'll finish off cardinal utility today. Okay. Yes, so you can see the tab that we were discussing yesterday also. I have uploaded this link in Moodle also, okay. So what we discussed yesterday, we started with cardinal utility theories assumptions, where we talked about different assumptions that are made in this theory. The economists made different sort of assumptions in order to prove their theories. And after that, it was seen that some of the assumptions had got absurd outcomes. That's why they were discarded later on. And then we discussed the equilibrium of the consumer with the help of cardinal utility theory. When there is only a single product and the income of the consumer is mentioned, then the equilibrium point will be marginal utility achieved by buying one extra unit of that commodity should be equals to the price of that commodity. That means the level of satisfaction that you're getting by buying that extra unit of a commodity should be just equal to the price of that commodity. If this is happening, then it is an equilibrium. It is said to be in equilibrium. In case there are more than one commodity, say there are more commodities extending till n, x, y, z, a, b, c, d, like that, till n number of commodities are there, suppose, then what should be the equilibrium condition? It should be mux divided by px equals to muy divided by py equals to, like that, the last commodities utility ratio to its price, mun divided by pn. This becomes our equilibrium condition. Okay, so if this question comes in your examination, say you are asked to write about the equilibrium of the consumer with respect to cardinal utility theory, then you should mention these points, that what is the equilibrium position when there is only one commodity, and what will be the equilibrium position when there will be more than one commodities. Like that you will state. Mathematical derivation is not required at this stage. We will come to it when we will solve sums. Okay, while explaining cardinal utility, no need to write this mathematical derivation. This is derivation of the formula in order to prove that the marginal utility derived by buying one extra unit of a product is equals to the price of the product. When I am saying no marginal utility derived by buying one extra unit, what is it? This is nothing but the level of satisfaction. Theoretically, if you say, this is nothing but the level of satisfaction. Then we had to discuss this derivation of the demand of the consumer. This is very important to understand. Okay, if you remember yesterday's discussion, I had told you somewhere that if you go on buying the same product again and again, then the level of satisfaction that you got by buying the second unit, that means you purchase the first unit, first packet, and then you consumed it, and then you are highly satisfied, that's why you moved on for buying the second packet of that product. Then the pleasure or the satisfaction you will get by buying that second packet of the product will obviously be more than the satisfaction that you will get by buying the 10th or 20th unit of that product. So point is, the marginal utility diminishes throughout the number of purchases. The more quantity you are purchasing, the less will be your level of satisfaction derived by consuming that product. So that concept is being used in this derivation of the demand of the consumer. Okay, let us study. The derivation of demand is based on the axiom of diminishing marginal utility. So that's what I said. This is based on the phenomena theory process of the diminishing marginal utility concept. The marginal utility of commodity X may be depicted by a line with a negative slope. Figure 2.2. The second figure is showing you a slope, is showing you a straight line which is going on the negative axis of the y, isn't it? Can you see that the slope of this straight line is going till the negative axis? Why this is happening? It is happening due to that theory of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, see the level of satisfaction. Suppose when you are buying This is x. In x-axis quantity is mentioned, okay. In x-axis quantity is mentioned, and in the y-axis the marginal utility derived by buying one extra unit of that product is mentioned. And you see that when you are increasing the number of quantity, no, when you were at 0 it was also 0. When you were, say, suppose 1 unit, you were at a certain point of utility. When you're increasing these units, when you're going to the right hand side, towards the right hand side of this x-axis, you see the marginal utility is getting decreased. It is coming downward, isn't it? This line is talking about the function of the quantity purchased with respect to the marginal utility derived by buying that one extra unit of that particular quantity. So when you are going on buying this product, when you're increasing the quantity, the utility is getting decreased, it is diminishing, right? So it will go on decreasing, and at a point it will become negative. You will, if you still increase this number of units beyond this line, if you go till here, then you see that there is no satisfaction at all. Rather, there is dissatisfaction. You are irritated by the product, by the product's features. You are irritated now. You want to stop buying this product. So this is that phase, okay. So in the figure, the line with a negative slope has been shown, and this depicts the marginal utility of the commodity X. Geometrically, the marginal utility of X is the slope of the total utility function, that is U equals to FQX. So geometrically, if you say that what is the slope of this total utility, what is the slope of this marginal utility straight line, it is given by capital U equals to function of the quantity X. This is geometrical representation, so you will straight away write this one, okay. So how this slope you are getting? You are getting it by the utility function capital U equals to function of Qx. That means function of all the volume of the quantities of volume of the products you are buying. The total utility increases, but at a decreasing rate up to quantity X. Till the quantity X, the total utility is increasing, although the total utility is going right hand side, but it is going at a decreasing rate. It is decreasing. See, it is going also at the right hand side, but it is sloping towards the downward part. That's my that means it is decreasing. It is going at a decreasing rate up to quantity X, and then starts declining. It was going to the right hand side, and then when it reached point X, it did not stop here, but it started to decline. It was going in the negative axis, no utility at all. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. This one, no, this, oh, I'm sorry, I'm explaining it again, okay. The total utility, this geometrical part has been shown in this axis, okay, this axis. Geometrically, the marginal utility of X is the slope of the total utility function U equals to function of Qx, okay. Then total utility increases, but at a decreasing rate. This total utility by buying the total utility of by buying that extra unit of the quantity of the commodity X, although it is increasing, but it is increasing at a decreasing rate. This is just this point, okay. This is this point. This is the total utility that is being shown. This is the total utility function that has been shown in this curve, and this X is exactly this X. Here it went to the negative axis, and here it has started to decline. This is how this particular individual utility has come, okay. This is the total utility function that you are achieving by buying those units of the product separately. Say when you are at 0 unit, when you are at 1 unit, when you are at 2 unit, when you are at 3 unit, like that. If you calculate the total level of satisfaction, then you can show the curve like this. It will first increase, but it will increase at a decreasing rate. It will stop here. It is not going to that side. It's not a straight line. See, it is not a straight line. It is a freehand curve. You can draw it freehand. It is increasing, but it is increasing with the notion of getting decreased after a certain point of time. So it will reach this point X, and then it will start to decrease. So this is the total utility if you calculate by taking the individual functions. 1, 2, 3 like that till x till n. If you calculate, this slope will be there. You learn this part, okay, how to draw this cards and how to represent the cards. And this straight line determines the exact utility of that, of buying that extra unit each time. This is the total utility, these are the individual utility at a different number of units of the product. Accordingly, the marginal utility of X declines continuously. Obviously, it is inclined that the marginal utility of the product X will go on declining continuously, and it becomes negative beyond the quantity X. So, as soon as it reaches the quantity X, it will increase, but it will increase at a decreasing rate. It declines continuously. But then after this point X, this will start to decline and becomes negative beyond this quantity X. If the marginal utility is measured in monetary units, the demand curve for X is identical to the positive segment of the marginal utility curve. If you want to measure the marginal utility in terms of money, monetary units, then the demand curve for X is identical to the positive segment of the marginal utility curve. See this figure 2.3. At x1, this is x1. I hope you can see my arrow. This is x1. At x1, the marginal utility is how much? It is mu1, isn't it? At x1, the marginal utility is mu1. This is equal to how much? This is equal to p1, because we know that in equilibrium, this marginal utility is exactly equals to the price at that point. So it is exactly equals to P1 by definition. Hence, at P1, the consumer demands how much quantity? Then how much quantity will the consumer demand at P1? Tell me, anyone? At X1, the marginal utility is MU1. If you want to show the price, what will be the price? If another curve, if you plot X and Y axis as quantity and price, the price is P1, right? So at X1, marginal utility is MU1 and the price is P1. So at price P1, what will be the quantity? What will be the quantity? Exactly here you see, if you draw a quantity is coming at X1, isn't it? See these two graphs simultaneously. At x1, the marginal utility was mu1. At mu1, the price was p1. If we stretch it and touch that straight line of the demand curve, then the quantity demanded will be x1, right? P1 at P1, quantity demanded is x1. So this marginal utility at marginal utility 1 by definition will be equals to P1. Then at P1, the quantity demanded will be x1. Similarly, at x2, the marginal utility is mu2, thus the price is P2, and at price P2, the consumer will buy x2, and so on. The negative section of the marginal utility curve does not form part of the demand curve. This section we will not consider because demand cannot be negative. Yesterday, Srishti, you were having doubt by whether the quantity can be in decimal. It can come in decimal depending on the information given in your question, but it cannot be kept as decimal because quantity cannot be in decimal. For 2.5, what does that mean? 2 full packet and half of one packet. It cannot be kept like that. Either it should be 2 or it should be 3. Like that, if that is possible. If it is coming in decimal, you can round it off and say that either it will be 2 or it will be 3. But if quantity is coming in negative, that is not possible. Quantity coming in negative is not possible. A quantity cannot be negative. Change in quantity can be negative because you're seeing that by how much it is decreasing or how much it is increasing. Change in quantity is a different thing. Okay, do not confuse. But the exact quantity demanded cannot be negative. So in this curve, in this second diagram, this negative section has not been considered because negative quantities do not make sense in economics. Understood? So this is how you will show the derivation of the demand of the consumer. I will set one question from this part, then you will be able to understand clearly that when to answer this like this, to which question you need to set this answer. You need to understand that also. So I will set a question from this part, then you will be able to understand that for what question this has to be written. If you have any doubt, please point out. Okay, click a picture of it. The link is there in a Moodle. Click a picture, mark it, and then send me to the WhatsApp. I'll clear your doubt. Mark it at what line you're having the doubt. Then you send me in WhatsApp. If you have, it is clear, that is well and good. Then I'll say give you the question. When from the question you'll get, you will understand that when we should write this part. Now, every theory has got some critics. So here also there are some critics, there are some limitations, there are some drawbacks. What are those? There are three basic weaknesses in the cardinalist approach. What are those? The assumption of cardinal utility is extremely doubtful. That satisfaction, read this line, listen to me very carefully, okay? The satisfaction derived from various commodities cannot be measured objectively. This is number one. That the satisfaction derived from the various commodities obviously cannot be measured objectively. That means you cannot put a set a particular number for it to measure that level of satisfaction. The attempt by Walras to use subjective units called utils for the measurement of utility does not provide any satisfactory solution. So here also the attempts by Walras to use the subjective units called utils, okay, for the measurement of utility does not provide any satisfactory solution. The assumption of constant utility of money is also unrealistic. So at one point in yesterday's discussion, we came across that this value of money is kept constant. It is not changed, but value of money changes, no, over the period of time. It changes. So this assumption, firstly, the assumption that the satisfaction can be quantified is highly objectionable. Second is the subjective units attempted by the Walras in order to measure the utility. Also, it does not provide any satisfactory solution. I mean, it is talking about MU, marginal utility. Okay. And thirdly, the assumption of taking the value of money as constant factor is also very unrealistic. As income increases, the marginal utility of money obviously changes. Thus, money cannot be used as a measuring rod since its own utility also changes, isn't it? If your income, suppose if your income is 10,000, then your satisfaction level by buying a small product will be high. Whereas when your income will become 30, 40,000, say for example, then buying that small product will not give you that level of satisfaction. When your income will be more, you will want to buy more expensive product, isn't it? So that marginal utility of money also changes with change in income. That's why keeping money as a constant rod in order to measure the utility is not at all acceptable. Finally, the axiom of diminishing marginal utility has been established from introspection. It is a psychological law, but which must be taken for granted. Yes, this is true that this level of satisfaction decreases, but this has to be considered from psychological point of view. There is no proved theory in economics or mathematics that it actually diminishes. Okay, so you might be asked to write the limitations of this theory also. So you should learn the critics as well. Okay, so I'm ending the discussion for today. If you have any doubt, you can ask later on. I'll reply when I get time. And again, I'm saying, if anyone is not getting reply, please do not think that I am taking it. I'm doing it intentionally. I might have seen the message and then I forgotten. I might have seen when I'm busy, then when I become free, I forgot. That might happen. So in case you don't receive a reply by night, by 10 p.m., 11 p.m., kindly remind me that ma'am, you did not reply, like that. Understood? Then I will again take your question and reply. This is how we will go. We cannot meet physically now. There are chances of getting infected. So we will do like this. We'll follow these modes. And after that, when we meet, hopefully we'll meet soon, then we will clear all our doubts on one-to-one.